Would you like to know how to have a positive menopause conversation at work without feeling weak? Would you like to know how to frame it so that it is professional and positive and feel confident and prepared as you step into that meeting? Well, you're in the right place because that is the subject of today's video, and this is the third in the series. The previous ones were all about your symptoms and about what adjustments you might need in order to help you maintain your career. Now, my name's Kate Usher. I'm a menopause coach and change strategist, and I work with women to empower them and enable them to have modern menopause conversations both at home and at work. I also work with managers to enable them to create strategies that are immediately implementable to create female and menopause-friendly workplaces. And this book behind me, I wrote that too, Your Second Phase. And it's all about how to reclaim work and relationships during and after menopause, and it is available on all book outlets. So today's video, how on earth are you going to step into that space feeling confident, prepared, and ready? And the key word here is prepared, because preparation is everything. About ensuring you know the facts before this begins. Don't rush into this. You deserve the time it takes in order to ensure that this goes successfully. And that's what we need. That's what we want. So the first video, we looked at what your symptoms were, how they show up, when they show up, and if they're exacerbated by anything. Next, we looked at what adjustments you need for your symptoms, because our menopause, each of us, our menopause is as unique as our fingerprints. And so today it's about preparation. Now, what policies or guidelines does your organisation have? Well, most organisations, the larger ones now, do have menopause policies, and it's very much a case of where are they and how do you access them. But if you don't work for an organisation like that, maybe you have some guidelines, so your employer is tentatively moving into this space, or possibly you might need to look at other policies within the wellbeing sphere. So look at some of the other policies that sit underneath the Equalities Act of 2010. And mental ill health is always a good place to start, as is anything to do with gender and sexuality. So anything in the EDI sphere, have a look and see if there are any policies there that your guidelines that you can draw on to gain some kind of guide on how your organisation works around these areas. Next, is there a precedent? Have any other women in your organisation approached management to get support for menopause? And equally, if it wasn't great, the experience of women before, has anything changed in the last year? Because obviously, a lot has changed since the pandemic, and a lot has changed as far as organisations' approach to people who have well-being issues, because they're recognising that equality, diversity, and inclusion is a very, very big issue indeed. The world has changed dramatically in a year, and organisations may well have too. So see if there is a precedent. What have women done before? What has the organisation done in this sphere? See where the changes are and speak to the women who may have gone through this and see what was successful and what was not, who they spoke to, what they found was the best approach. Also, once you've done that, you've now created a network of women that you can speak to about this. So why not get together in a group and create a self-help group within the organisation? These are becoming incredibly common, and they are very, very powerful. Also, If there are more than one of you, so a group of employees is always more influential than a single woman. So together, you can create a level of change and a change in perspective within your organisation. Next, practice what you are going to say. I know this sounds silly, but practice it. Say what you think you might need and how they may well respond. Now, you know who you're going to speak to by this stage. So tell them exactly what it is that you want to speak to them about, because the very last thing that you want when you get to this meeting is for them to sit opposite you, going red, doing the goldfish, because they're completely stunned, and that's certainly not the conversation they thought they were going to have. You need to give them the opportunity to go away and do their research so that they can come back into so they can come to the meeting rather fully armed with all of the policies for the organisation. Next, it's once you're practicing this, you know who you're speaking to, you understand the precedent in your organisation, and you've looked at policies or guidelines. It's important to set in your mind exactly what this outcome is about. This is about you holding on to your career. You've worked seriously hard to get to this point, and you deserve this time. So absolutely focus on it. This is a business conversation. You are preparing yourself just like you would for a major presentation. If you suffer from loss of verbal recall or memory loss during this time, or you find that you get very emotional about things, that practicing is going to be critical, because you are priming yourself to manage this situation better. And if you need to, make sure you take some notes. Now, the next video is about the meeting. How are you going to be in that meeting? So make sure you subscribe, and I will see you soon.